Anyhow, my phone got cut off. Anyhow, to continue. So he's been a jerk, not a nice person, you know what I mean? Because I went there. At that point, I had no interest in going to Poland. Never crossed my mind to go to Poland. But I just went there to support him. But he says all these negative things about me and whatever. And so anyhow, when I heard the things, I just said to myself, nobody. I bought a flight here, and when we go out, I paid, and all of that. It's not like he's taking care of me, feeding me or buying my ticket or none of that. I bought everything on my own. And when we go out to a restaurant, if he decides to pay, I'll pay in the next, if we went for dinner, I'll pay like that. So we're taking turns. So I wasn't really taking advantage or anything like that, or being whatever. But those the negative things he said, and so I just, it got to me. It got to me, and then I just decided that, you know what? I don't need people like that in my life. And then when I noticed that he was part of the, entourage of the enemy, I just said to myself, you know what? I can't be friends with people who are working against me, who are working for the enemy. So to make the story short, I went back to London, and we haven't spoken, and contacted me a few times, and I just said, you know what? I said to him, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I'm sorry. Just let's move on. I'm not interested anymore. So anyhow, and because all these people do not know why you're being targeted, they think you've done something wrong. That's why they're participating and causing you harm. Because I could tell he wanted to know what's happened, why am I targeted. He never said it, but his behavior, he just kind of gave it away. And then, so anyhow, after that, a few months later, he ended up get beaten. He ended up get beaten by a homeless guy. And so a homeless guy just, I don't know the story. This guy just opened a can of ass whipping on him, So this guy just whipped him, and took his cell phone away from him, and has nothing to do with me. So at that point, we stopped being friends. We're no longer friends. I don't know anything about him. I don't call him. I see him in the street. I ignore him like I didn't even know who he is. We make eye contact, and I just pretend like I never met this person in my entire life. Okay? And that's how I am. You know what I mean? If you piss me off, I just stop talking to you. You know what I mean? I don't go hold people hostages, you know what I mean? Oh, you're not talking to me, I'm gonna make your life miserable, like some people. But anyhow, that would happen. And then we had a common friend, and this common friend, he's no longer a friend also. Another story. But anyhow, so I was talking to this other friend of mine, and he's also from Sudan. And I met him the first time when we went there, and we kept in touch, and I ended up going back to Poland twice after that. He was alone without him. We just meeting this friend that I met there, and he's from my home country or whatnot, but he's also a snake. Anyhow, he told me when Merrick got whipped by this guy, a homeless guy just whipped him, a new one, and took his cell phone from him. And even though it has nothing to do with me, I was not the one who initiated this whipping on him. I didn't. I didn't even know, you know, until, this friend, his name is Taib, told me. He called me one. We were talking, I think, over the phone and WhatsApp, and he says to me, "Oh, guess what happened to Merrick?" I said, "What?" And because, and he goes to me, "Oh, homeless guy just whipped him and took his cell phone away from him." You know? And then he told Taib, it was me who did this. It was me. He says, I'm the one who's responsible for this. Meanwhile, I did not know this guy got whipped, or I don't even know this homeless guy in London. And so I have no affiliation whatsoever to have him whipped. Like, you know what I'm saying? All I did, you know what? Because he pissed me off so much and he says horrible things about me, I just prayed against him. That's it. All I did is just pray against him. That's it. I didn't go hire homeless guy to beat him. But and then when he got whipped, he says to Tayyip, because of, "Oh, Budar did this to me. He did something for me to get beaten. Like I do witchcraft or something." You know what I'm saying? I don't do none of that garbage, But anyhow, he thought it has something to do with me, which is I all I did is just pray against him. That's it. I just prayed against him for justice, because what he did was wrong, because I've been nothing but a nice person to him, a good friend, supportive, and he's talking trash about me. That's karma in the works. I'll tell you the other story some other time.